just have to wait
waiting
and
for
see
all the
how things
players to
go.
get in. Yeah.
Definitely, no, we'll definitely just have to wait and see how things go. So, I mean, yesterday we were seeing what Doomfist could really do in the hands of someone who is like masterful. And, you know, Leaf had that golden fist and he was doing a really great job. I'm interested to see whether Iceblock GG will continue to play this type of team comp throughout the whole promotions, like this group stage, or whether they might just fall back on the dive comp that we know they have done so well. Because part of their coordination issues might just be because of the inclusion of the new hero and the changes it's having on the meta. You know, you said we saw them play 2 weeks ago and they were playing extremely well, and that they were very coordinated back then. So it just might be a bit of a meta change and they're trying to get used to it. And this is the first time that they're playing it in a competitive setting as opposed to scrims. So we'll just have to, you know, see how it goes throughout the rest of the group stages. But
yeah, I'm really, really interested in how these teams will decide how to really put that. And if they will try to mix things completely, because we had FTW bring it back to yesterday. Like, we had one team, Mixy Mix, who really were focused on this Doofus and Doofus alone. Then there was Singularity, who had their very, very distinct playstyle and they obliterated everybody. But then we had FTW. When they were losing against Mixy Mix, they didn't really know what to do. They started swapping their heroes around completely and completely losing their idea of how to play the game. Will we have a team like this now? A team that just adapts to what's happening from the other side?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll just have to wait and see how things go. But right now we have another team video that's about to come up to give you a bit of an introduction to the teams. There we have it, another intro video about CyberAthletes. So yeah, they're a Spanish team, very ambitious one, and they definitely have a focus on creating a team that's able to ramp up and compete with the very top teams that already exist. So we'll have to see, but here we go. We already have the last 3 picks of the maps. We have Nepal, we have Lijiang Tower, and Route 66, which are all maps that we've seen quite a bit of in the last couple of group stages.
Just going back to what's pretty standard after seeing a Temple of Anubis, after seeing Numbani once again, and then Watchpoint Gibraltar, we're back to the standard thing. We're going to get to see Lijiang Tower over and over again. Then Route 66 joining the fray, Nepal, and what was the other one that was pretty abused? King's Row, most likely, and maybe a little bit of Hollywood mixed in. But yeah, I'm really interested in how it's going to work in the next eSubbers matches. After all, they're in the losers brackets. They will face off against a loser of this match about 2.5 hours from now, I would say. And will they once again want to leave the Temple of Anubis there? But then if they face off against KGSZL, they banned Temple of Anubis as the first map. So there's not going to be a possibility to really do that or try to sneak a weird map through, because some of the teams, they want to force the enemies into banning what they don't like or into banning the generally not liked maps, which might have been the mistake that that Iceblock just did with that Temple of Anubis, because a team that knows about that will just not ban it at all, and then it will be left in the pool. But some of the teams just stay really sober until the very end. They just ban Temple of Anubis, Volskaya Industries, a Lunar Colony. Right off the bat, they're going to ban out all these trash maps that nobody really wants to play, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's the mind games of, picks and bans. And if eSuper recognize that, then that's very like credit to them for playing Iceblock GG's game against them. But now we're against, KGSZL and CyberAthletes, and we're starting off on Lijiang Tower, which is an interesting map. I think it has quite a 3 control points, and we have to see how things will happen. It will be. I think we're looking towards CyberAthletes, but as the video pointed out, they have some new roster changes, so it'll be interesting to see what they're able to pull out. Again, first time we're seeing them play, so will they be using a traditional dive comp meta that we've been seeing so much, or will they themselves be practicing the Doomfist? I think they'll be using Doomfist just because they've probably seen the other teams use it to great success, so I would be surprised if they haven't used the past week to really practice it and get ready for the tournament and take advantage of his strength and the unfamiliarity that other teams have of fighting against him. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before we even got to this matchup, before we even got to the first matchup, about CyberAthletes, they mostly have losses on their account, but these are losses against some very good teams. Which definitely shows that they might have some of that international experience after, as the video said, replacing some of the players from the weak links. It might be that now they will be completely dominant. But this is going to be their ultimate test, I guess, facing off against KGSZL, who are similarly ranked out there, who also have some popular players on their side. This is going to be a big question mark for me until we get into the game, because it can look exactly as the previous one. Like, previous one on paper should have been Iceblock easily taking the entire game, not even giving a single point over to Isoba. And right here, with the little recent, with the little fresh info, and on this kind of level info that we have, it might be completely random in the matchup. It might be that CyberAthletes will crush KGSZL, or it might be that they will not yet be so well meshed together and will just fail completely.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how things go, but it's going to be exciting to find out what happens. I'm definitely, like you mentioned, pre-match, excited to see what Kib is able to do. He's a fan favorite on KGSZL, which is a mouthful to say, but it'll be exciting to see what he's able to do at the end of the day. And whether he's able to take over the map, because we've definitely seen that where some players have just been on fire and able to take over and kind of carry, I wouldn't say carry their team, but enable their team to succeed. So we'll have to just wait, but I think they're just getting in the people into the lobby now, one more person, and we should be starting up very shortly. Who you expect CyberAthletes to win then? If you had to put your money, if you had to put your betties down?
I don't know. I'll bet on KGSZL just because I like Kib. Just a personal opinion here.
Fair enough. All right then. Well, I guess, but he's French as well, so I think I have to support him as well.
Kib is actually British, but I guess that's even more the reason for you, right?
Yeah, I guess. Technically not British, but sure. It's that weird thing. I'm from everywhere. I actually thought he was French for some reason. But we'll have to wait and see. Everyone's in the game now, so I think we'll be launching pretty soon. But it's quite an exciting one because I'm looking forward to seeing how they perform against each other, because the winner of this will obviously be going up against Iceblock GG. And with the performance Iceblock just gave, if one of these teams is very strong, we could see a big upset.
Yep, so let's find out how it's all going to go. But yeah, that's one thing. Kib actually is lately playing a ton of Lucio, and he's filling the role of a support apparently in this team.
Interesting.
So we're not going to get to see any Genji plays from him anymore. And in the meantime, Zeus takes over. So since I have not really seen Kib perform for quite a bit of time, that'll be a little bit of a challenge for Zeus to prove that he's even better than Kib was once.
Absolutely. It would definitely be interesting if that role swap. We've seen it with other teams, and some teams have succeeded very well with that. So give a shout out to Incatech with that top cheer of 100. But yeah, well, exciting to see how these matches go, and the teams are getting together. We have Leodeads on Doomfist, but these teams today don't seem to be coordinating as much as the teams of yesterday, who were really trying to use the combos of like the Zarya, Anna, and Doomfist to great effect. And rather, these teams are kind of just forcing Doomfist into a more traditional comp just to replace one of those flanker DPSs. And already we see him pushing forward aggressively and getting a pick straight away on the Genji. But Poppy Fresh with a very nice flank there and manages to pick up 2 kills. So Leodez is already performing really well on this Doomfist and trying to put around while they're fighting for the checkpoint, control point rather, which is now about to be captured. It is now being contested and he's diving in. Poppy Fresh is sitting on the side trying to make sure that no one is too high on HP, and look at this little flank around to eliminate a couple of the healers. Now we're watching on Sharp, who's pushing forward as well. Neither team has been able to capture the point just yet, and Sharp is sitting on the sides with a little duel against Poppy Fresh. Wonder what they're going to be able to do, and here we go. KGSZL have managed to capture the point.
Yeah, but for how long, that is a big question. They do have a pulse bomb and the meteor strike, and yeah, just seeing so many DPS out there, and all of them being the mobile ones, really. The Tracer should usually be replaced by the Doomfist, but this time they're playing together, and there's also a Genji. So not going for a soldier, not going for McCree anymore, or anything along these lines. Sharp getting a double kill with the pulse bomb. Then the meteor strike strikes in, as I mentioned. Both these ultimates were available, and both of them are real good and right on points. And now the rest of the now attacking team will be pushed back completely. And I can see a lot of different voices from the chat, people saying there are 2 different Kibs, the one is not the other. And yeah, actually I was wondering, because it just doesn't seem too right at the moment that he's playing the Lucio. He's not been playing DPS at all. But actually Ghost Gamer says that this is the British guy, saying the name and surname that the British Kib uses. So I'm a little bit confused, but let's continue with the fight. As once again Doomfist gets the first kill, gets the opening and pushes the enemies back, and now they have another offensive ultimate as they're playing the triple DPS comp. The Dragon Blade this time sweeps everybody down the floor.
Some really nice aggression coming out of Zeus on the side there with his Dragon Blade and able to eliminate a couple of people, and then at the same time Leoded's able to get a double kill as well with his Doomfist. And as you can see, those 2 players are on fire at the moment, so they're doing a very nice combination of mobile champions darting in, doing a lot of damage, and then jumping out. So we'll just have to see how things go. I wouldn't worry too much about chat, but Poppy Fresh is now trying to push in a team push from CyberAthletes, trying to capture a point, because currently they're sitting on 0%, and it's already 93% on the side of KGSZL. So we'll have to see if this doesn't work out, and I don't think it is. Already we're seeing Zeus doing a lot of damage, Sharp on the side pushing out and making sure that CyberAthletes aren't able to get anyone into the point. Oh, they're able to get one person that looked like a Lucio, so yep, there he is, but I'm sure he will be eliminated swiftly. But the question is he going to be able to buy enough time? Because there comes the Winston.
Zeus once again just trying to clean everything up with his Genji out there, and once again the Dragon Blade would have come out if anybody was alive out there and if the point just lasted a little bit longer. So that's 1-0 for KGSZL, very impressively and very one-sidedly most of all.
Yeah, it was very one-sided, and this was the sort of play that we expected from Iceblock GG, but some really good coordination coming out of Zeus and Leodez to prioritize the squishy targets and take them out without giving up too much. Sharp was also doing very well at darting in and out, and we'll have to just wait and see how things go on the second map, but it is the first game. You know, we saw Isuba lose the first one, but managed to win the second one, and so I don't want to jump the gun and predict too quickly that KGSZL will steamroll CyberAthletes.
Okay, so there we go, opening up the garden, and right here, no Far Mercies coming up anymore, and there are, actually, yeah, there is the Doomfist on Leodez once again, just like last time, and once again they are going for the triple DPS. I'm not too confident in that, we've not been seeing it anymore lately, but it's just working for them, so maybe some other teams will also be convinced to try and mix it up a little bit. Maybe once again we'll get to see the mixed meta coming out completely, with maybe 3 tanks once again showing up at some point.
Great little performance there from Sharp, being incredibly annoying, and Zeus then coming around to just finish things up, and now they've capped the point once again. And it's a question, are they going to just shut them out? So these are two styles of teams, you know, sitting on the point more defensively, but we saw like BB's Adventure when they were winning, they pushed up so far forward just to make sure to be super aggressive, and we can see that flank around the back coming out of Poppy Fresh, it seems, on the Tracer to kind of be more annoying. I'm not sure how much it's going to do, but Zeus here coming up huge and just taking out a few kills, and 4 down on the side of CyberAthletes. I'm worried that they're going to get 100 to 0'd again in this second stage.
Yeah, so a very strong start, and as I said, this is going to be a little bit of a gamble for how it works out, because it might be that CyberAthletes are not that bad, but they're just not meshed well enough together yet since changing the roster a little bit, right?
Possibly, we'll just have to wait and see, and maybe this is what they're using the tournament for, to kind of warm up. But here we have an ultimate coming out, as you can see right in front of you. Sharp doing a lot of damage and chasing down the champions, and Zeus picking up a double kill. And CyberAthletes have been shut down once again. At this point, what I would say they need to do, they have 2 ultimates ready up. They want to wait, build up that Transcendence, get Sound Barrier, get that up, get the Visor up. They're all very close to their ultimates. So just do a little bit of building up on their heroes, get them, and then do a coordinated push. It's probably going to be the best way for them to crack it. Because it's at 85%, but dying like that is just not the way to do it.
Yep, just pushing them further and further, and locking them in the spawn. That looks real bad for CyberAthletes for now, but it's still Garden, the second point. There were some kind of situations on the PAL when there was one team who would be able to do very well in just one single point and then fail completely on the others. So what's left? It's the night market, and yeah, it is quite distinct out there, so maybe there's a chance for CyberAthletes to actually do a little bit better right there. But for now, they do capture the point for just a little second, which was interesting because they wanted to trigger the overtime, but it turned out that there was nobody for so long that they could cap the point to.
Yeah, no, so I don't know if they'll be able to hold it. You know, KGSZL is on the point at the moment, but CyberAthletes have managed to push them off. So this could be a big turnaround, which will be exciting to see. Poppy Fresh is doing his best to make sure that the other team isn't able to jump on. And we have the Europeans from KGSZL grouping up and looking to do something. Sharp is already there to do some damage. Zeus is doing a lot of damage, and they have the ultimates. Nice reflect. But he is shut down by Recreant, and Poppy Fresh gets another kill right there. Is this gonna be a comeback? This is huge. They just eliminated 4 or 5 people in one go, and I definitely wouldn't have expected it. Recreant putting himself in a nice little position to put out that DPS without exposing himself, and he's on fire at the moment. So we'll just have to wait and see what is KGSZL gonna do.
Okay, so yeah, that's gonna be Zeus right off the bat, losing a lot of HP. Leodit all the same, so they're losing both their DPS so quickly. Sharp's gonna be able to take one person down with his pulse bomb, and now the Winstons are just throwing everybody off the map with the Primal Rage. Oh, that's quite lucky right there from the Niwa, trying to jump away at the very last moment before his death, but the point is taken over, and with his death it would be over. Survives just a little bit longer, but not to trigger the overtime. And there was a Tracer, if I'm not mistaken, in the vicinity out there. Oh no, never mind.
No, that was it. It didn't matter. It wasn't close enough. It was close, but no dice. At the end there, Zeus was able to capture the point. He managed to eliminate the Winston. So here we are, 2-0 in the favor of KGSZL. Just waiting to see whether CyberAthletes will be able to mount a bit of a comeback. I was quite impressed by them capturing the point, but I feel like KGSZL thought that the game was over and backed off, going for like a few plays, and then suddenly they lost the point and had to fight to get it back. So they definitely shouldn't get too arrogant and too relaxed.
Okay, so just doing a tiny bit more research in the meantime, opening up 1,000 sites. It's pretty much 50-50, but some of them really do say that it's Kevin Bernard and not the kip, the Finley kip that I was talking about. So really sorry for that, but there we go. Continues. This kip is also quite proficient, but it's support, not a DPS. And Poppy Fresh is going to open up with the first kill of his own, but a lot of people on his team are losing up a ton of health. Hey, how is he still alive? Finally killed off by Zeus, and the deflective haze Now they're all falling back towards the point as it opens up in a second, and once again the blue team is in possession of that, but not for long actually. Well, with the Lucian knocked out, we might be able to cap it. From the other side, there comes the Winston, dishing out the damage towards 3 people at the same time, so that's real good. And also has the Harmony Orb, so we'll be able to survive a long time out there. Kim joining in to try and help him out a lot, but Tele back in the fray after respawning. He's going to be the one to get the advantage for his team, although nobody's still able to cap the point for so long. This is just madness when Zeus falls. It actually belongs to CyberAthletes.
Yeah, that was a very messy fight and skirmish with back and forth there. You know, Poppy Fresh doing some damage. Hazer managed to actually kill Zeus on the point in the end there. But nice little flank here coming from Poppy Fresh, and we'll see if they're able to hold the point. KGSZL are looking to group up and to jump in. They only have 1 ultimate, but 2 of them already eliminated. Looks like Ashkov is going to go down, and he is. Leodens and Gustav, that's 5 people down on the side of KGSZL, and CyberAthletes are on fire and holding this point very confidently.
Sure, there we go. Right now the percentage is ticking for them, and as I mentioned on Garden, there is that little possibility that only 1 single point will be good for them on Lijiang Tower, and that is the night market. So after taking this one, maybe they'll completely bounce back, but it's not yet said that they will have this point on their accounts. It's just 50% this far, and KGSZL are grouping up.
Yeah, we'll just have to see, but here's Tel sitting on the side there doing a little bit of damage, and we see the Dragon Blade coming out, and not much actually happens of it because of a very good Zenyatta ultimate that came out, and instead it's a better read and reactions definitely coming out of CyberAthletes, and look at Tel getting a triple kill there.
And what a clean fight right here. Now that's what they needed. There's going to be 1 more approach, 1 more attack most likely from KGSZL, and if they don't manage to pull it off right here, they'll have to try and get the 3-1 overall on Lijiang Tower. Zeus and Sharp just trying to chip in some damage in between the little fights out there. Gustav has his Transcendence and has to pop it as he was really close to death. Finally manages to get through, push through towards the point. Ask up right here, getting 1 kill and looking for the fight on towards Tele. And will he be able to still jump around the window so long to survive? He's got the Harmony Orb and the Discord Orb on him and manages to live a little bit longer, but the point is taken over by KGSZL. Now will they finish off the remaining people? Still the Soldier was a little bit of a pain in the back, but finally got some got killed from behind, actually, from inside of the point as he was aiming at the Tracer outside of it. And it's still 99% for CyberAthletes. Will, once again, KGSZL be as clean as on the first point to be able to fully cap it.
That was some great play coming out of Tel there and some survivability. I'm not sure how he did so much damage and managed to survive for so long, but we're now watching Zeus trying to recreate that. KGSZL are pushing out to try and create, you know, create some breathing room for them, and CyberAthletes now need to regroup and try to get ready for this next push in to try and capture the point. We might be able to see a little turnaround, but here's the Dragon Blade coming out of Zeus, and is he going to actually be able to kill anyone? But no, great Transcendence coming out of Rizka Bustin, and rather than anything, Kib getting the kill on the Winston.
Yep, that's pretty important. Also, the Primal Rage locks out 2 people in the corner and actually 2 healers. Can you believe it? Even though there was a Discord Orb, they couldn't really do much since they didn't have any DPS backing them up. And now a good position from Zeus. He's just waiting to close them off. And it all turns around. I was talking about the one last team fight for KGSZL. They really capped the point right there. And now if they hold the enemies, the CyberAthletes back for long enough, they might be able to force them into the very same situation where this is the last team fight that decides which team takes the...
Well, there's someone on the point, and are they paying attention to that, or are they just fighting? No, okay, they've been pushed off. No, there's a contestant on the point.
Oh, the stick! On the pulse bomb, so 1 person just managed to contest it, but not for long enough. Now Leonid's joining in, and the point's not yet taken over, but that's a 1 DPS versus 2, and he's got the biotic field, but not for too long. The overtime sticking down, nobody in there. Winston though joins in at the very last moment. Can you believe it? Tele now though is just shotting him down with the Dragon Blade, and what a mistake on the side of KGSZL, but they're desperately throwing in the very last bits of what they have out there, but everybody's just getting a Discord Orb on their face and going down. So that's going to be the first point actually finally for CyberAthletes. What a mess right at the end right here.
I mean, I have no idea what just happened there. Like, it was a complete throw from the side of KGSZL, and they need to not do that. They had the point, they were holding CyberAthletes back, but then no one was paying attention to the point. Poppyfresh was able to jump onto it, and then I think it was Refriend who managed to make it, or was it Tell who managed to get on there as well, and captured it. And it's like, I don't understand, you know, KGSZL should really be paying attention to the point where they're able to react to those plays and not tunnel in on the kills. Because that's actually, I think, what enabled CyberAthletes to nearly get the comeback on the first point. They thought they had won, they jumped off the point to go do a couple of moves, and then suddenly CyberAthletes were able to cap it instead, and they nearly lost.
Alrighty, so we're kicking it off on Garden, luckily enough for CyberAthletes again, because Control Center was when they got crushed. On Garden, they got a shot right here. So there's a big possibility for them to equal it out to 2-2. And then on Control Center, it's a completely new game. And Leoded's getting a kill on Recurrent, but then instantly after dying to Poppyfresh. And Poppyfresh is giving a great effort to actually get these opening kills. The second map in a row already. Sharp, though, picking off the enemies in Yada, and now continuing up the battle to charge up the Pulse Bomb pretty much fully, as he's sitting on 90%, and just Recurrent completely escaping the fight. Already knows that he lost it out. Maybe once again they'll charge it up until 99 and then give up the point over to CyberAthletes. But this is where CyberAthletes are starting to have some trouble, because even on night market they got 99-0, yet they weren't able to close it off so easily. So right now, if there is at least a little bit of that percentage for KGSZL, it might be enough to close out the entire matchup.
Yeah, I think if they don't pay attention and they don't start, they keep playing a little bit sloppy near the end there, CyberAthletes are definitely going to take advantage of it. Been impressed by Poppyfresh's flanking and damage they've been putting out, but here we have Zeus looking at being very aggressive and trying to show people. Ascot also was the one that managed to open up the point for them to initially capture the point, so that was quite interesting, but he just popped his Primal Rage and hasn't really done very much with it, so that was a bit of a waste. But they have 3 ultimates on the side of KGSZL with none on CyberAthletes, but they're very close to them, so potentially you're going to have 4 ultimates in a couple of seconds if they play it smart, which could really let them push forward, but it is not going to work out if they just die here.
Well, Poppyfresh in a good position and poking the enemies from behind, but actually the other team is just engaging right through his teammates. Ascot goes up there getting the kills. Also the Winston with the Discord Orb flying around and getting hit by a Doomfist is not in the happiest situation of his life for sure. Pulse Bomb misses, though zones the enemies away very efficiently still. And it's 80% already and will still be ticking before they regroup. It's going to go down to just triggering the overtime and then fighting for the last time there.
Yeah, definitely. So that will be interesting. So right now we're sitting on 90%, and this is not so great for CyberAthletes because, like I said, that they went on this map where they managed to pull the comeback. I think that was actually more to KGSZL getting a bit sloppy there, but Recurrent getting a good little point. But nope, that's it. Yep. It's over, and it's 1-0 to KGSZL.
And a little bit too easily after what's happened on the night market, I feel like, here on the Garden again. But that's going to be it. Recurrent actually on the losing team. He's going to get the play of the game, and it is on the night market indeed. Good tactical buys are in there after all to finish off. At least 2 people in there chiming in for some good assists also. And that's a good shutdown. That's one shutdown that made me say that it just goes down to the one last team fight. But that one last team fight was victorious for KGSZL, so it lasted a little bit longer. But still, a good effort, I'd like to say, from CyberAthletes. But the very beginning and the very ending was slightly disappointing, since 100% to 0 on Control Center and now on the Garden. But what's next? It's going to be CyberAthletes pick, and do they once again go for a control map?
Route 66, no. So I want to point out
yeah.
that both Sharp and Poppyfresh actually performed really well there, using their tracers. Both of them were on the final medal count cards there. So it'll be interesting to see how things go. But Route 66, that'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, CyberAthletes picked it, so obviously they feel more comfortable on that. And potentially it's because that they just, with the escort maps, they don't see KGSZL being able to just shut them out the same way that they were shut out on those control maps. So we'll have to wait and see, but I've been really impressed by KGSZL, even though it's not the kid that you thought it was. their performance is much cleaner than we saw from the first two teams, and so long as they kind of make sure that they don't get sloppy near the end of the matches and relax too much, I can see them taking this point as well.
Yeah, that's quite valid, but surely KGSZL kicked it off quite strong, and just keeping up the momentum might be enough to push CyberAthletes over the edge. And I'm also looking forward to some experimenting maybe a little bit. I don't think that the Hanzo is going to be picked up, but it would be lovely to see him just right at the start, like some teams would pick up a Widowmaker right here most of the time, or maybe a Sombra, of course, of the defending team. It is there already with Gustav playing it. But as you also said, from Vivi's Adventure, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Reaper all the time on the offense on Route 66 whenever it was played. There was also a Mei on the offense once, so there's a chance for Recrant to hold on to her.
Yeah, no, it will be really interesting to see. I'm a big fan of the Reaper and the way he's been coming back into the meta and the way teams have been using him. Sombra is another one that's great on this map, so I'm very excited to see what Gustav is able to do with her. We'll just have to wait and see. Riska Posten on the Hanzo will be interesting, and Recrant on Mei would be great. She's incredibly annoying, but I do enjoy playing her. But I'm not playing right now, I'm watching, so we'll just have to wait and see. But Gustav getting ready around the corner, and a really nice flank coming out of Gustav right behind them. And look at this DPS he's just putting in. Sharp is up top. There's a big skirmishing happening in the tunnels below. And that was 4 people eliminated from CyberAthletes. So unfortunately we didn't see it on the stream, but Gustav was able to go invisible, loop around, and come in behind CyberAthletes in the lower tunnel and just put out a huge amount of damage, comboing with Leo Dead's Doomfist and just eliminating 4 people.
And Gustav teleporting back, actually still staying behind the enemy's ranks as long as possible, as much as possible. Now he's going to get knocked back, and the attacking team cannot even push that payload much further. Sharp in the middle of the team fight on that Tracer. That's quite dangerous, but no one focuses on him. That Tracer remains alive, but she's losing all the teammates out there. Gustav, after the EMP, only able to take down a Monkey. That's not enough in my opinion. Tale's got his ultimate available. Same goes for the Tracer on the other side, and that EMP is not keeping it away for long enough. Poppy Fresh and Hazer just delivering more and more, and Hazer actually taking out the Mecha. That's also going to delay Zeus as long as possible, but he loses his life to the Tracer. Slightly luckily enough, I would even like to say for him, as he's going to get the Mecha back, and in this kind of setup it would be hard to actually get it.
Yeah, no, it is going to be very hard, and I wonder whether they just pull back at the moment, and we'll just have to wait. They are mounting a bit of a defense. We have Leo Dead's up top there, but he's very weak. He has to use his Meteor Strike to pull out, and whilst he comes back in, he isn't able to kill anyone, but he's chasing down the squishier targets, but again, not able to do too much. And Tel coming up huge on his Genji. I'm really impressed by his play there. You know, kills 2 and opens up and weakens the 3rd. Now, 4 people, or 3 people at the moment, but 4 people were down, and I think CyberAthletes are going to be able to capture this first point.
Much better.
We'll get the payload to the first checkpoint.
But Leo Dead and Gustav with some good team play right there at the very beginning, but then they're not able to back it up at all. It seems like KGSZL have slowed down a little bit, and that's a little bit worrisome too. Sharp getting the kill on Poppy Fresh. That's pretty important because Poppy Fresh is real annoying on that Tracer of his. Another Tracer kill. Both DPS are down. That's important. And then Recrant is still trying to do as much as possible on that soldier, but it's a little bit late.
Yeah, so now we can just see KGSZL sitting on the sides there, trying to create a bit of damage. CyberAthletes are obviously trying to group up. They have 4 ultimates on their hero, so they will probably be seeing a pretty big confrontation, and the ultimates coming out. But a really nice flank from Ashcroft, and able to get 2 people down. So I think that shut down CyberAthletes' push, and it's good to see that actually none of the ultimates were popped prematurely and wasted. So they're holding on to them well, and we'll just have to wait and see. Poppy Fresh being a real pain.
Yeah, and it's very highly likely that the Meteor Strike will come in as soon as Leodids rejoins the fight. So once again, they are trying to get more aggressive with that Winston of his, although just he can do that because there's no Zenyatta on the other side, and that's something that I'm a little bit concerned with. Maybe there comes self-destruct. It's not going to be too effective. A very good hide from RAZER on top of the payload, actually. And there comes the sound barrier. RAZER actually knocked away from his team. The sound barrier is not going to actually catch up to anybody until he rejoins the fight out there, and then they clean up everybody, so not like it made a difference at all. Though a tactical visor popped in this team fight, the sound barrier, Transcendence, and then Poppy Fresh's pulse bomb too, so they have spent quite a bit. And then, as I mentioned, Meteor Strike is coming right up there.
Yeah, no, but that was a very good push by CyberAthletes and fight, so we'll just have to see what they're able to do. Recurrent up on the top here in a really nice positioning and just putting out a lot of damage. Doesn't look like KGSZL are aware of his positioning, and indeed they're not. He's able to take out Zeus. It looks like they're going to take out Gustav, and there we go. The second checkpoint is secured, and now they're already pushing in to set up for the third one. And this is one of the toughest parts, but they're definitely playing in such a way that I'm really impressed. You know, their performance in the first game made me think that maybe KGSZL will just be able to steamroll them a little bit, but nope, they've woken up and are doing really well. This positioning is really good. He's holding them back, and I'm not so sure how I feel about KGSZL sitting so far back, but Askov being very aggressive, and we can see Sharp looking to make something happen, but Poppy Fresh being one step ahead of him.
Yeah, Askov actually really aggressive. That has just proved quite like 10 seconds ago, where he pushed further and further and further to kill a single Zenyatta. It was completely out of sight, and then he had to commit suicide to try and rejoin the team. But that's just given more opportunities for the enemies to push the payload. So I feel like it was a little bit over aggressive out there. Telling once again on his TNG, completely unstoppable, getting the Doomfist down. And it's so important because Leodet's kicked off this map so impressively, but has been silent ever since.
Yeah, KGSZL seem a little bit less coordinated on these escort maps completely. They haven't really mounted a very strong defense, and it seems like CyberAthletes are very comfortable on Route 66. So we'll have to see how things are. But Zeus and so on, they're setting up on the side there and looking to capture them if a couple of the heroes get out of position. Gustav needs to be careful because there is a possibility that, you know, just a Leodets or someone will just appear and delete him. Sharp once again, just doing some good damage, and that's exactly what I meant, that couldn't be sitting too far out on the side, but here we see the Dragon Blade, and is he able to do much with it as he has before? And yep, there we go, 4 down.
Yep, Doomfist going in, trying to pin some people to the wall, but he's not even able to get a single elimination, but then the team perfectly backs him up. Sharp has the pulse bomb ready. Soon the primal rage will also be there for Askov, and it's just such an important ultimate now for both the teams, really. Leodet's once again just trying to stay in some close quarters, trying to catch somebody out from behind. He comes in, but now hears him and now knows exactly where to aim, but he gets punched to the face and barely stays alive, but will get killed up. Actually, yes, he will survive. Poppy Fresh loses his life before the Transcendence pops in. But now when the Transcendence is over, it might be a little bit easier to get rid of somebody. Gustav Zenyatta on the defending team is so low, and he's gone now with Kim. No healing available, only DPS remaining. I don't see that working out too well with the Meteor Strike. Leodets actually puts himself in harm's way right in the middle of the enemy team. And that will be about it for this team. Like 40 seconds remaining, so the time bank was actually thinned down. But it's still good enough if you captured the 3 points on map like Route 66.
Absolutely, and this final point is always so difficult. It's just such a shame because Leodets had such a good flank with the Doomfist from behind, but unfortunately got caught on Nivor's Winston and wasn't able to capture the squishier healers that he definitely was aiming for. But that's 3 down now on the side of KGSZL. A good Transcendence popping out there, and I wonder whether CyberAthletes will be able to get this final point. It definitely looks like it with 4 or 5 down. I don't think there's going to be anyone who's able to stop this.
Oh, so close actually out there with the
very
Doomfist.
Nicely done. That was a really good performance coming out of CyberAthletes, and I wonder whether KGSZL will be able to do anything there.
So there we go. 3-0 again, like on Watchpoint Gibraltar. Struggling a little bit. The beginning was not so sure out there. in the previous matchup, but it does work out for CyberAthletes. So it might be pretty similar to what we've just seen from Iceblock GG. The one map was a complete failure for them, but then they will wake up on the others. However, it's still worrisome that Nepal is the last one map left in the pool. So they failed so miserably on Lijiang Tower. It might seem that Nepal should be very close to what we've seen just a second ago.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how things go. It's definitely going to be interesting. We have Tell, who hasn't picked Nope, he's picked his Genji, so doesn't look like too many changes. Poppy Fresh on the Sombra, which we saw Gustav do a lot of damage with, so I'd be interested to see if he's able to do the same amount of damage. But I'm not entirely sure. We'll just have to wait and see it as the match is about to start in a little bit. Recruit has been impressing me a bit with his performance, but on the other side of Ashcroft, I feel like Winston has really been dominant along with Zeus's Genji.
But Recruit mostly on the Soldier, I think.
Yeah, he has been.
And now he picks up the Diva. And Poppy Fresh, actually, with how effective his Tracer was on the attack, it's a little bit of a shame that he has to abandon her and play a Sombra now. But if Sombra is just as good as that Tracer, then it's probably going to carry the team to victory.
Yeah, and I think if played correctly, Sombra can really have an impact, a larger impact. And look at this, another really good flank, and it looks like the team is just not aware of him. A nice, good little popping of damage. They're going into that tunnel. I wonder what they'll be able to do. I wonder if he could have stayed up there for a little bit longer. Seemed a bit premature.
Well, of course, hacking the health back, though, in that tunnel is just such a crucial thing on this map. And for now, Poppy Fresh is not charging up his ult at all. And actually, Askov's just going so ham in there, getting a double kill for himself, and then some more support from Doofist. How are they able to push CyberAthletes back so easily? I am astonished right now by what's happening, and Askov's is still not falling back at all. He never, ever even made a hint of preparing himself to jump back. He just always pushed forward.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like CyberAthletes were kind of caught out of position there, and a really good jump in. Askov saw the opportunity, jumped in and seized it. So now we're looking at Sharp, who's looking to do that flank, and I wonder whether he'll be able to. But we have Poppy Fresh now on the side there, getting some good shots on the Winston, and just falling back a little bit. Nothing, just being annoying and a bit of a pain.
Okay, then. Pushing it further now, and the time back surely looks quite good for them. If they just continue like that, then they will have the upper hand for a little moment. For now I'm going to ask after just putting down the damage on both the sides. But on one side there's the healing from a Zenyatta and a Discord Orc, while on the other there's nothing really to support now. So you have to be dead as quickly as possible out there. And Poppy Fresh also losing his life. That's going to hurt a little bit. Of course, transferring over to the Tracer from the Sombra, but it's going to take a little bit of time to charge her up.
KGSZL is in a really good position right now with their ultimate economy, especially compared to CyberAthletes, who don't have very much. The closest is the Zenyatta, the Winston, and then the Zenyatta, as we can see it. But Zeus with the big ultimate, getting 2 kills on the healers, which is going to be huge, and will be able to now finish off this Winston, because without those healers, I can imagine that KGSZL should be able to get this next checkpoint fairly easily. But it looks like actually CyberAthletes were able to hold off there.
Yeah, and
quite well,
it's
actually.
Very interesting how it always was the easiest thing to actually shut down the Winston, and now it's the Winston that stays alive until the very end of the team fight, gets 2 kills for himself. But well, it all continues. Now Tele might be able to reply with a very Dragon Blade of his. He's got it ready, but decides not to throw it down. The sound barrier comes in from his Lucio, and Tele's trying to catch up with all the escaping enemies, and Leoded's, oh my goodness, and just this amount of mobility, and I didn't get to mention that yesterday. Oh, Poppy Fresh with a very good idea not to jump directly into a rocket punch, because he knew that Leonidas would be prepared to turn it around. But yeah, coming back to the point, I didn't mention that yesterday, but actually seeing it from a spectator's point of view after playing Doomfist a little bit myself. Yeah. From a spectator's point of view, you then finally actually realize how much field he can cover with all his abilities. The mobility is just so huge on that hero.
Absolutely, he is. Like, you don't necessarily think it when he's initially moving around, you know, but his strength comes with the way he chains in his two skills, so the uppercut and then the slam down. But he has to land those, because without it he doesn't get the shield, which means that he's very squishy at 250 HP. So here we have Ted coming out, and it's surprisingly, even though KGSZL looked like they were doing quite well, they haven't been able to get that second checkpoint. They still have 2 minutes and 40 seconds though. But Poppy Fresh is positioned and waiting at a nice little just on the side here, waiting for them to come in. And CyberAthletes are quite well set up around this bend. Lots of cover, they can fall back inside. And I'm not so sure what KGSZL can do. I think at this point they just need to build up their ultimate economy, do a little bit of damage, see if they can catch someone out of place, and go for a big team fight in a minute.
Yep, this is the most important push right now. If they really want to have some kind of a time bank, they really want to try and even take the third point, they have to take the point now. Tele's going to cut down Askov, so I guess that's the team fight already shut down. Not much to be done. Transcendence also popped from the other side from Gustav. Is it not a little bit of a waste though? On the other side, the Wizard also goes down, so maybe there's a bit of hope. Tele though has the Dragon Blade and throws it out. After getting 2 kills to open it up, he still had his ultimate and has a big pocket, and yeah, that's it for the team fight. As I mentioned, it should have already been over after Winston's death, but KGSZL were a little bit overzealous, and just because of that, they delayed themselves even longer.
Yeah, and they're putting themselves, I think they're trying to force it a little bit too much, rather than taking a step back and kind of regrouping and playing the game again, as I keep saying, the way that they want to play it, as opposed to panicking it, which looks like they're doing. And now CyberAthletes are in a great position with 5 ultimates on their heroes. They're just waiting for Teddy's, which is at 22%, but he's done so much without the ultimate that I'm not even sure he needs it, and now they're pushing them back. Zeus is looking to get some sort of flank, but look at that, the attack coming out of CyberAthletes, and just completely shuts down. 4 people dead on KGSZL.
Oh man, yeah, and KGSZL just won the last assault, I would say. It's gonna be a Dragon Blade, Pulse Bomb ready, South Barrier is gonna kick in the middle of the team fight. Because, well, actually, they pretty much have everything, with the exception of Transcendence, while on the other side also quite a big amount of ults, but they're missing the DPS ults, and that's what might hurt them. So let's see how this will all go down instantly. Now we're actually triggering the Primal Rage, trying to keep them away as long as possible so that they don't trigger the overtime, but I guess that was a little bit too confident from his side, as they still had 20 seconds left when they reached the payload. In the first place, Askov getting 1 kill, and already the Transcendence going off. The sound barrier is going to be ticking down on the defending side, so they're losing a lot, and soon the Pulse Bomb is going to kick in from Sharp. They've got to be careful about that, though. Is there going to be anybody to even stick the Pulse Bomb to, since everybody's nearly dead on the side of CyberAthletes now? Recurrent only trying to turn around with the tactical visor a little bit, but it doesn't last too long. After getting 1 kill, he gets killed. 1 minute and 30 seconds though. Oh, it's going to be tough. It surely is.
Yeah, I can't believe they got that at the end there. That was really just I just can't believe it. I don't really have any words to explain it. We all saw it happen, but there we go. With only a minute and a half though, minute and 10 seconds now, and this is possibly one of the hardest escort points that there is to get around. I am not sure KGSZL will be able to manage. Transcendent comes out there, and I'm not entirely sure why I didn't see it, but Tell is sitting on the side. Poppy Fresh is behind. He could potentially, but he gets eliminated by Gustav, who reacts very nicely. Askov coming up huge again, and we see that Leodes has swapped off the Doomfist onto the Soldier 76. And I feel in the first map that we saw, their success and when they really started to gain control was when he dropped the Doomfist and started taking the Soldier 76. So again, I'm not so sure that teams in this group have mastered the Doomfist as well as those in Group C. So just have to see. And they're getting some good traction forward. There's 20 seconds left, but here's Zeus coming up with a huge ultimate. And is he able to get a couple of people? Diva is extremely low, waiting for her to jump out. He gets one. He jumps in.
Oh, the Primal Rage!
Rid of her. And we have the Winston. And if they're able to kill him, but out comes the sound barrier from RAZER. They're really trying to do it. The Transcendence there. Yeah, it is so close to that final point. 0.66 meters. It's contested. We'll have to wait and see, but Zeus gets taken out. Sharp is there. Leo Deads is just putting out a lot of damage. Lucio's being incredibly annoying and is taken out, but I'm actually not sure how this is going to go because we have 3 down on the side of KGSZL. It's quite a long run back for them. Can they keep it alive? Leo Deads, Nero is on the point just trying to clear it up with his Tesla cannon, but he goes down now.
Oh,
they managed to make it. That's insane.
Puppy Fresh was already going in. Actually, the Lucio also was already going in. And it's just pure chaos what's happening right there. The Dragon Blade was, as soon as it was drawn by CyberAthletes, it got shot down by a pulse bomb from the other side instantly. And Recrant's going in with that diva of his. He's done nothing at all. He lost his mecha in a split second, then lost his life in a split second. Then they were zoned out by Ascopt alone with a primal rage, hitting 5 people at the entrance to the respawn, which is the biggest thing in my opinion. And then somehow they were able to survive so long when the enemy started flowing in again. As you said, it is a long way back, but for a very long time, nobody's died on this side. That's why holding on to the payload for so long, they were able to push it till the end somehow. But a minute from both the sides, and this is just crazy. Actually, the initial push in the first point was better from KGSZL, but later on, it was so much better from CyberAthletes. But for now, with 1 minute, it's only the first and max second point that counts.
Yeah, I feel like the reason CyberAthletes weren't able to get such a good push at the start was really because Gustav managed to get that flank, and Ascoft in that defense, so that initial defense really slowed them down. But overall, I was more impressed by CyberAthletes on this map, but it will be very interesting to see what they're able to do. Here we go. Gustav is behind them again, and I wonder if he's going to be able to do much. Not as much as he did before. But, you know, Sharp is doing so much on his Tracer with Ascopt. It's pretty crazy, so we'll just have to watch and see. But look at, again, Gustav just being incredibly annoying. Sharp is standing there with a minute on the clock, 30 seconds. I'm not sure how far they're going to be able to go.
Yeah, the initial kills are extremely important. If the already Sombra has built up the EMP, Gustav, it's now crucial to lay it down, and he does it pretty well, but only getting a kill on the Zenyatta. The auto attacks is still enough to hold back the less numerous now enemies, as KGSZL were jumping in without Leo Deads, who died real quickly, and they are the ones to lose this team fight. I was talking about EMP, how important it was, but it was also important to have all 6 people alive until that point. The overtime is triggered, but it's pretty much going to go down to if they take the first point or not.
Yeah, well, Leo Deads has swapped over to Soldier 76, so it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to do a bit more with that. Recrant up on the hillside here, able to do quite a bit of damage, poking down. They're moving the payload forward quite a bit, and they're getting some, you know, they've taken out Gustav now. Zeus's mech is out. Sharp has been eliminated, which is crucial, but Sharp getting a great double kill with his pulse bomb. Really, he's really been stepping up. Mattel taking out Ascopt, who's definitely the other hero or the other player that has been doing a lot. So we're still in the overtime, and are they going to make it to this checkpoint?
Oh no, we're once again just slashing through the enemies, and that's going to be pretty important when the enemy Winston is absent. It's so much easier to just chunk through all of them.
And I think it looks like they will get that checkpoint. I think it looks like KGSZL is stepping back.
Don't get any additional time for taking a point on the second rounds, so it's really surprising to me actually that the defending team is not trying.
Yeah, I would have thought they'd just throw people, because as you said, yeah, they don't get more time, so they could have just thrown people at it and stopped them a little bit more. But this is quite a big choke point. They built up 2 of their ultimates, and Kib has to throw out the sound barrier straight away because he just gets nearly directly eliminated. He's extremely weak. Sharp is doing a lot of damage at the moment, and they are holding this point right now. They're 2 down on the side of CyberAthletes. Tell has been eliminated now. Recrant is healing up, but
from behind.
Sharp just eliminating. Sharp is coming up huge here, and I think this is it. 13.19 meters.
And see, they still went out to fight right in that gate, so I'm not sure why they decided to hesitate before.
Yeah.
But, well, whatever. Right now, they just have to capture the first point after all, right? You just have to get there. It's not going to be hard to push through to grab the victory. So I would say that in theory, they are in the more comfortable situation, KGSZL right here. But with how strong this far CyberAthletes have been on Route 66, it's, well, nothing's sure just yet. I have to mention that. And what is the last map? Nepal, if it is actually CyberAthletes who take it. So it also is going to be another series of really tiring control maps right there for them. But, of course, they just want to get another shot for themselves.
Yeah, we have to just wait and see how things go, because CyberAthletes have been playing great, so I could definitely see them taking this. And, maybe that first match was just a bit of game was more of an anomaly, so we'll have to wait and see. But Gustav on the Hanzo, I wonder if he'll keep this. Tell getting ready with his typical picks. Not seeing anything too different on either side. Leodeds is on the Soldier 76, which seems to be stronger for them, and Zeus is pushing up.
Yep. Oh, from behind. Now we're in Puppy Fresh. This could be crucial right off the bat, that there are some people behind them, but this could be also some easy deaths. Sliwer is able to kill off Kib, but then right after he goes down himself, they're not able to put their hands on Puppy Fresh. That is the most important thing. When the Tracer is still alive, nothing's really 100% solid or stable for them.
No, but Leodeds is actually putting a lot of damage. Poppy Fresh is positioning himself on the side. He's now got the Orb of Discord on himself. And Leodeds is looking to hunt down that Poppy Fresh who's been eliminated by Kib. So they're now pushing the payload quite quickly forwards, which is quite impressive.
Well, there we go.
But we'll have to see, because it's definitely around here. Askov going super ham and just completely getting himself completely caught out. It's just a suicide jump in. Apparently he doesn't know that gorillas are endangered, and Zeus is determined to follow him.
Yeah, right now they're losing a lot of people. Tele, if he doesn't die right here, it's gonna be a tragedy for them. Sharp with a pulse bomb tries to make these things straight a little bit better, but yeah, he's still killed off by Poppy Fresh. So I guess that could be it for Route 66. If they don't bring it back, Askov once again jumps in and dies, and that's going to be it.
A massive mistake coming out of Zeus and Askov right there. Huge mistake, because they just threw away the game.
I don't really know how to put it, because last time when they were attacking, it worked out so perfectly for him. He was able to zone out 5 people all by himself, and then he was joined in by Doomfist and they dominated. But this time it was just suicide, as you say. So I don't think we can call it a mistake if it's something that's already worked out for him. It was just a high risk, high reward play.
I think, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but this was the bit where Gustav was coming up behind. As I said, you could see him spraying in, and Leodeds was just cleaning up with the damage in that small space. You definitely don't want to match up against a Doomfist in that sort of environment where he's able to just jump in, and you can't avoid his damage. It's pretty huge there. Great performance coming out of CyberAthletes. They should be feeling very proud of themselves. You know, they managed to secure it at the end there. I know you're saying that high risk, high reward, but I do think that jumping in as the Winston solo into 5 people is not the way to go. It doesn't matter how tanky he is. It's not good enough. And then for Zeus to follow that up was a bit of a questionable decisions, especially given that they were 2 players that I had been following and were thinking had been doing quite well. Sharp is another one on the team that's been doing great, but Tell has just been a huge rock of the CyberAthletes. So now we're on Nepal, and it's control again. It'll be interesting to see whether they can play this better than they did the first one, or whether the KGSZL is going to steamroll them. But so far, this group seems to be much more balanced and harder to call than some of the other groups where, you know, we had clear favorites that kind of came out from the initial games.
Yeah, oh yeah. So waiting for one player from CyberAthletes as they're asking for a second of a break, and then we'll be hopping into Nepal.
He's back
which, for me, I don't know, it should be similar to Lijiang Tower, right? But not for all the teams. Maybe this time it's not just going to be the night market that works out for them, but they will be the ones who have 2 dominant points in CyberAthletes just like that, turn it all around and take it home. But I can see that a lot of people are Like, we are creating two different teams in the chat too.
Yeah.
A lot of people really wanted CyberAthletes to win from the very start, but then they were the others who really wanted KGSZL to kind of upset, quote unquote, because of course, as I mentioned, both the teams in the rankings, they're set real close to each other, and there is no real favorite in here.
No, absolutely, and it's actually really fun watching the chat and seeing everyone betting. There's some good trash talking going on. Apparently, Nod might be losing all of his betties right there, but I'm not sure it's gonna happen. We'll have to wait and see. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's a good method to just add a bit of excitement. The game should be starting very shortly, and I think the initial map will really give us some insight into whether CyberAthletes are able to kind of compete on control maps, or whether this is really just a huge weakness of theirs, and that we're going to see them eliminated from the tournament pretty quickly. Because I think if CyberAthletes can't play control, eSuper will take advantage of that, and
oh yeah,
that will be it. Currently, like, if CyberAthletes are able to win this, though, it's really hard to call who will end up winning out of eSuper and KGSZL. And even I could see CyberAthletes surprising us against Iceblock GG if their coordination isn't on point. So we'll have to see what they do. But I wonder if we'll see a Reaper on this. I'd be quite excited to see
same.
better one. I'm not so sure about. To be fair, I'm not so sure about the way that they've been incorporating Doomfist. I feel like it's been much more effective to use a Soldier 76, but that might actually be because the other champions, or other heroes rather, aren't being coordinated to provide him with the survivability like an Ana, like a Zarya, to enable him to kind of do that damage and survive, and rather that he's jumping in, maybe getting 1 or 2 kills sometimes, but in other situations he's just getting eliminated, and the rest of the team losing that DPS means that they're in a disadvantageous position. But here we go, the game is starting up, and it's going to be Nepal.
Yeah, and especially like with the meta kind of switching around a little bit, with the meta becoming the old one again. I also would love to see a Reaper right here on the ball, and especially in this point on Sanctum. He's just so useful to closing the enemies off in the respawn that I cannot imagine a better opportunity to pick him. But for now, both the teams just not really showing him yet. Both of them also not going for the Doomfist also, and that's how I imagine they will stick with their lineups. And once again, we're just not seeing so much of that D.Va or whoever else out there, really. It's just 3 DPS all over the place over and over again. It's not the first match even. And 2 days ago, 1 day ago, excuse me, yesterday, we were talking about how the lack of D.Va here on Nepal can be just a tragedy for you. And it was. So I'm wondering why both of these teams are not deciding to even go for her.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and I wonder if the teams were watching yesterday's matchups, which they definitely should have been if they had the time, because they were really interesting in the way that Mixi were able to use the Doomfist comp, and also the way Team Singularity were able to counter it was really interesting. And it's definitely, we saw some great gameplay coming out of a number of the players, some textbook examples. But right now we're just seeing a bit of poking coming out of both teams on the side that tells the player to watch if he's able to build up his ultimate. Poppy Fresh and Shop battling on the side, trying to get a good flank, and Gustav, who so far I feel like he's been outclassed a little bit by Riska Posten in terms of transcendence, but we'll have to see how that goes on. But definitely a lot of players being taken down to quite weak. But no one eliminated so far. But nope, sorry, there we go. Zeus is able to get a pick, and is he about to jump off? Nope, he comes back up, and is he able to catch Poppy Fresh? Yes, he is. Nice little flank play there, and KGSZL are able to capture the point.
Yeah, for now, that's going to stay that way, apparently, as nobody's really getting out of the respawn, and only the Genji jumping out to try and send out a couple of shuriken. And most importantly, Naiwer, he was just so important as that Winston of his hopping in on Route 66. This one big mistake from Ascot has gotten them rid of the one map that could have been the decider in the match. Naiwer hopping in indeed, right after the kill. Ascot, once again, he just finds a good possibility, good opportunity but isn't able to lay down the damage when Zeus is countering everything with his Dragon Blade, after all. And on his way back from the team fight, actually, Zeus also cuts down the monkey.
Yeah, there we go. But we have Recurrent who managed to take out some of the heals, so at the moment there's a possibility, but the aggression coming out of KGSZL just means that they're not able to push, CyberAthletes aren't able to push out of their spawn currently. And Leo Dead's on that Soldier 76, a good Transcendence coming out, and lots of survivability, but there's no one on the point, and currently CyberAthletes seem to be capturing it, which is something that happened in the first game type where they weren't paying attention, and out of the back they managed to jump in and capture it, and Recurrent doing a lot more damage with his visor, and that is 4 people down on KGSZL, and it looks like Leo Dens might be going down. He is, and the only one left alive was Sharp. So
this time, actually, a much better performance from Ask after this team fight, hopping in and zoning out 4 people with his Primal Rage, but Naira still finishes off in the first place, as he's the one to kill off the 2 last members of the enemy team in the team fight. So both the Winstons, I feel like, are very important members of their teams, but for now, let's see what this one fight is going to bring us, because just one victorious one for KGSZL is going to once again mean a big advantage on the control map. And kicking it off, Leonid's going to find 1 kill. Now though, with the Primal Rage, he's just knocking everybody aside, keeping them away, then jumps towards the team. Poppy Fresh with the Pulse Bomb, and everybody's once again picked up. Poppy Fresh even behind Zeus, and Zeus is trying to catch up with him with a Swiss strike, but is not really able to do that. Has to fall back, they have to raid rope, and will the defending team now try to close them off in the respawn, like the Reds guys have done, like KGSZL have done just a while ago?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely a very good push by CyberAthletes, and now the shoe's on the other foot, so we'll have to see what they can do. Ashcroft is pushing up, his health is sitting up, and he's doing quite a lot of damage. Poppy Fresh has the Orb of Discord, so he has to be careful and sit on the sides there. Zeus has no ultimate, looks like he might have just used it, and he's just poking a little bit of damage, but no ultimates on either side of the team, so they're just kind of pushing up there. But Tell getting a good pick out on Gustav, which will definitely reduce their effectiveness, Poppy Fresh being taken out, but I don't see anyone that's able to really push up by KGSZL and capture the point, but as I say that, they are capturing it.
Well, now we're once again just jumping in. Tele in the front out there, has to deflect for a little bit of time out there still, but that was pretty risky, and it's real important of a team fight coming up right now. Ascoft has to be fully health, and we'll have the Primal Rage jumping in right there. Also, the Visor and the Sound Barrier already popped. Sound Barrier in there. Zeus is not going to charge up his ultimate in this team fight, but Sharp might as well happen off the Pulse Bombs in there. Naira is going to receive that Pulse Bomb alongside Whipped Hit support, but it's only the Zenyatta to go down, and Naira now jumping around with the Primal Rage, but he's just knocked aside himself. He's away from the point. They're not going to be able to trigger the enemies away from the overtime. And, well, the monkey's gone. Got killed off. Is there anybody to really trigger the OT? No, that's just the first point going over to KGSZL pretty easily after a very intense fight. And I thought that maybe Naira is just going to fight to try and stay alive as long as possible, try to rocket jump in at the last moment to trigger the OT to allow his teammates to respawn, but he just died. That's weird. Yeah,
no, that was quite a messy team fights, and I feel like that's kind of been the story of these groups. It's a bit of chaos, a bit of back and forth, and the team's not doing what we expect them to. But 1 point goes to KGSZL, but it's a lot better performance coming out of CyberAthletes, so which is giving me hope, and we could definitely be going, it could go either way still. So either side, but I'm looking at both teams. We see Leo Dead's on the Soldier 76, so he definitely seems to have gone back to what he's most comfortable on, which didn't seem to be Doomfist or the team. Otherwise, I'm not seeing too much of a swap.
Okay, Zeus right in the front, already chipping in a little bit of damage for himself, but it's Sharp who's got the most of the ultimate charge for now with the Tracer. And I'm actually thinking Poppy Fresh, he's been so impressive on that Tracer overall in the previous maps, but Sharp is stepping it up a little bit more on the pile this far.
The point's unlocking already, so the KGSZL is already set up on it, so we'll have to see. There's a big jump in, but Naiwa was just solo there and ended up dying, and it looks like Tel also will be eliminated pretty quickly. I don't see him surviving, but Sharp, as you said, have been performing really well. just have to see how things go. But nope, there we go. CyberAthletes are able to do the damage and take over the point.
Well then, they will be getting a little bit of that percentage ticking in. And I said that it was the worst thing that could happen to them that on Lijiang Tower, the KGSZL team capping the point right off the bat. If it is CyberAthletes that have control at first, then it already creates a lot of hope, a lot of possibilities for them. So I'm glad that this is how it goes, that it's not going to be so one-sided. As Lijiang Tower, apparently, as the Sanctum's already told us, Ascroft and Zeus are starting to get the kills. The tactical visor from the other side. Recurrent, he knows that there is no deflect available from Zeus anymore, and he's still not even being cut down for so long. And actually, after he dies, Dele is able to just continue his work and finish off all the remaining players. So 50% at least right here for CyberAthletes. A good start once again, but they also had a good start in Sanctum. And that's why it worries me. That's why it bothers me so much.
Yeah, no, I'm just really surprised. That was a really good fight coming out of CyberAthletes right then. They're holding on to the point really well. We see Sharp up on the top end here. He's now on the point. Who did he stick? Yep, he takes out Recurrence. The Soldier 76 is out of the fight. We're already seeing a lot of ultimates popping out. Zeus's ultimate, but he's shut down before he's able to do anything. And what if Tel will be able to do? But no, he's shut down by Ascroft, who's coming up huge and takes out the Zenyatta of CyberAthletes. Poppy Fresh is able to take out Leodens, but Ascroft again killing Hazer on the other side of the team, and it looks like they might be able to capture the point now. They're contesting it. Naiwar is trying to push people out, and it looks like KGSZL will be able to capture this. And Sharp is eliminating a number of people, and there we go. Oh, no, but Naiwar jumps right back in.
Yep, and that's once again the very same Naiwar that we saw on Sanctum just a while ago. He could have just stayed around there a little bit longer and grouped up with the team and triggered the overtime or something, but in Sanctum he just jumped in and died. And now he escaped, and it seemed like he wanted to escape, but then he jumps in again just to die. But yeah, maybe he realized that it's going to be quicker to group up like that. And yeah, the advantage that they have is quite big, 97% in there to 20.
Yeah, no, I mean, they've taken control of it, but that's what we saw last time. But it did come down to the 99%, and I was a bit, you know, the end was a surprise, very close fight. But CyberAthletes are really performing really well at the moment. So here we're having a big push. We have the ultimates coming out. It looks like they're falling back, though. They recognize that it was a bit too much of a push, but Sharp isn't letting them get away. He's chasing them down one by one with Zeus, and look at that. They just wipe out 4 people and walk away.
Well, that's a clean fight right there for them. And Zeus still has the Dragon Blade ready. Both the sound barriers have gone down simultaneously, but Leodens was so easily able to chunk through it with the tactical visor. And if another thing like that's going to happen, then we're going to have it evened out again. And we might be seeing another 99 to 97 this time, maybe. Dele, there's no telling what's happening next when he jumps in on that Genji of his, but Zeus tries to shut them down with the Dragon Blade as I mentioned, but then there's the tactical visor from the other side. Pulse bombs are going down to drop Recurrent, but there are no more people to hold on to the point if we're talking about the red team and KGSZL. Oh, they do have the Transcendence to trigger the overtime for a little bit longer, though Leodens has to be careful. He cannot go in like that alone carelessly. And Ascroft, will he survive it even? Yeah, he is getting a little bit of healing out there, but Zeus is once again going down. They're losing their DPS, so I guess at this point will belong to actually the Spanish team.
Great performance coming out of CyberAthletes there. They really managed to coordinate their ultimates and their pushes correctly. At one point, I was a little bit worried that they had lost when they had to fall back, and Zeus was so aggressive with Sharp to push them down and then kill them, finish them off after that. But they regrouped, and you know, props to them, because you have to really see that the mental game of these sorts of situations is a huge part of being in professional Overwatch, because if you're not able to deal with you know, the losses, and able to keep your head in the game, keep the strategy focused, and then come back on it, you will end up being crushed. And it's definitely tough to lose 3-0 on Lijiang Tower, but they're showing that it didn't affect them. They played Route 66 very well, won it, and here we have it. It's coming down to the final couple of matches.
Oh man, so let's go. No Bastion at least this time around. Ascroft is going to stay alive way too long in this team fight. if actually Poppy Fresh and the gang want to take it. Recruit though still in the middle of the fray, though he's going to be zoned out by a deflect and now has a Genji behind him. Zeus cutting down a Zenyatta and then just trying to get out of there. Who will capture the point? Okay, they do already have 2 people on it, so there's no problem out there for KGSZL.
Yeah, no problem at all. And we have Leo Deads on the side there with the Zeus in the backup, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. Gustav, they have the point captured. On the other side, the team, a couple of them are sitting at 25 and 50% ultimate. So, but there is someone on the point contesting, and I'm not sure what's happening over there. Zeus is trying to push in. He's getting the high ground to look in, and they were able to push them off. Sharp has been a monster, I have to say, for KGSZL.
Recrand from above tries to take down Zeus, but that's not happening. Once again, Zeus getting rid of the enemy Zenyatta. Poppy Fresh with the recalls trying to avoid his death, but I don't think that he'll survive way too long. And ouch, regrouping with the team will take him a little bit of time this time round, actually. So they're going in with 5 people right at the bat. Poppy Fresh will have to catch up. They are trying to poke around as much as possible with 50% already ticking, though. There is no time to waste. Sniper jumping in. And sometimes he's been the most effective for Winston in the game, and sometimes it's been Askov, but both of them are making crucial mistakes from time to time, so it's tough to really judge both of them. Askov getting 1 kill, and now we're also replying with the very same favor. There's a primal rage to try and jump away. Poppy Fresh still staying around the point, but not for too long, as he's still actually not finished off. Interestingly enough, they're getting rid of both Leo Deads and Sharp. So now this point will have to be taken by the blue team. CyberAthletes finally getting something done on the village, or will they? Genji's there soon enough. Another Tracer will be joining in. Never mind, the Tracer. Sharp is waiting for the rest of the team.
So teams need to now kind of coordinate up, and I think a big push coming from KGSZL. They want to try and retake this and not allow CyberAthletes to get too much time on the clock. And we'll see what happens. Poppy Fresh has been just playing huge, but really both Tracers on either side of the team I think have been massive. And now we see Zeus trying to push in and get some of those value targets up top. He gets rid of the Zenyatta, pops the ultimate, is able to take out Soldier 76, and now he's in a bit of a duel with Tell, and I think he's got the advantage of it. Now they're pushing in. Are they going to be able to push them out? He takes out Tell. Here we have it. They're going to retake the point, and at 82%, it looks like KGSZL are going to take it.
It looks like it, but Recrant's already approaching with his sprint, so he should be able to trigger the overtime at least out there with the team. And, well, now that I think of it, the Doomfist inside of the point right here on the village could be extremely effective. Wherever he uses the rocket punch, he's always going to pin somebody to the wall, so that's 1 hit, 1 kill always. Pretty much. Tell is going to take down Zeus, though. Gustav is not triggering the Transcendence while he dies. That is interesting, to say the least. CyberAthletes are getting some free kills. They're getting the three takeover on this point because of some big mistakes on the side of KGSZL.
Yeah, there's really no excuse there. Gustav had the Transcendence. He definitely should have popped it, and it's not the only time that I've noticed some dodgy Transcendences coming out from him. They have 3 ultimates, though, on the side of KGSZL, so we'll see if they can do the push, and at the moment, CyberAthletes are just sitting on 60%, so and no ultimates, but this means that they need to be aggressive, and we're trading kills back and forth.
Yep,
but nothing too much is happening right now. Poppy Fresh coming up quite big, but is he able to finish them off? Tell is able to get Gustav, who did manage to pop the Transcendence, but I don't think it was as good. Poppy Fresh just being a huge nuisance, as well as Sharp. Sharp, though, managing to kill off Nibel, and Hazer's done, and now this looks like it might be it.
It should. Poppy Fresh is trying to hold on to it as long as possible. Also, the Zenyatta's going to be upping in, but yeah, he was exposed for too long. Enemies knew where he was, how to take him down. He had no Transcendence. So yeah, that's going to be 2-1 in favor of KGSZL. But as you said, some dodgy ults right there with the Zenyatta. Also, Tell, in this team fight, he's actually failed a little bit. When you are jumping in as a Genji with your Dragon Blade, getting 1 kill and dying, just a 1-for-1, just raining kills, that's not good at all.
No, but I do wonder if it's just that KGSZL have recognized that Tell has been huge for CyberAthletes, and they're able to pin him down a lot easier than Poppyfresh, who's the other player that I think has been coming up big. So we'll have to see. Leo Deads is off of the Doomfist and back on the Soldier 76. So obviously they feel like the long-range DPS is more suited to this map, so we'll have to see how things are. But Tell keeping on that Genji and being aggressively forwards, trying to build up that ultimate. It seems pretty even across the board, nothing too exciting happening, just a bit of skirmishing in the middle of the map.
Now Tell to open it up on Sharp once again. Tell just kicking it off very strong with the Genji of his, but will get knocked aside by Kib and the Lucio out there. The Boop being able to get the kill. Zeus also cutting through Hazer, the Lucio on the other side, and it's going to be very important once again. As I mentioned, if KGSZL just put their hands on the point right off the bat, if it's not CyberAthletes who cap the point first, they're going to be in big trouble. That's what it looks like, actually.
Looks like it. They're having a lot of skirmishing on. Leo Deads has just been living on that point with Hazer for ages, who was able to keep him alive and just put a lot of damage, and with their own passive healing they managed to capture the point, which was really impressive. But Poppyfresh was doing everything he could to give his team the space to breathe and capture the point, and they just weren't coming up big.
Oh man, once again CyberAthletes will be regrouping themselves with 25 to 30% kicking in. They'll be jumping into the fight. Leo Deads is going to try to jump away as quickly as possible as that soldier, but it's not possible to really get away from Winston and a Dragon Blade on the Genji. But he's exhausted a little bit at the time on that Dragon Blade for sure, which is very much worth it. Zeus and Sharp are now building up the kills for themselves. Sharp got the Pulse Bomb kill. Zeus is cutting people down with the Swift Strike one after another, so no problem. They're holding on to the points and just sacrificing 2 people to catch that soldier who didn't even have a tactical visor or wasn't even close to it. Now that creates a perfect opportunity for KGSZL.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very well played, and I'm a bit surprised that they didn't lose the point, but look at that. So now they're building up their ultimates. Leo Deads is extremely close. Ascoft is very close, and on the other side of teams, they've just gotten the Transcendence. They might get the visor in time, but this is why KGSZL is pushing up aggressively. I'm not sure about that Transcendence. It didn't look like there was any real danger of anyone dying to anything major, so it might have been a little bit wasted. Nile going huge and aggressive, and they're not able to kill him. Tell taking out Zeus, which is pretty big, and Leo Deads popping the visor to take out Poppyfresh, recognizing the damage that he can do. He's flanking around, and Nile was somehow still alive and just being such a nuisance, but does die to Leo Deads. But he's able to clean it up. CyberAthletes win that fight and look like they're about to take over the point.
Yeah, and Recrens, this time Leo Deads actually had the visor. This time was so much more important, shut him down. He got the kill on Poppyfresh, but as you mentioned, you recognize the damage, but then Recrens countered it completely with his tactical visor. They started picking the enemy team apart, and I feel like it's kind of weird because KGSZL, they kicked off the fight very well. They should have had the advantage out there, but they somehow got wiped out easier. But they have 99% already. It's all about winning. Just one more fight, taking the point over for just a little moment out there, and Aniwa once again getting aggressive. Has one to get cut down is Ascoft actually. Tell once again with the Dragon Blade, but once again only a single kill for him, which in my opinion is just not worth enough. But as they're winning the team fight, it's not important to really worry about it too much.
Absolutely. I think he's doing what he needs to with that Dragon Blade, which is not just getting the kills, but also taking a lot of attention from the other team. And CyberAthletes were able to get 5 kills there for 1 death, which is a great trade, and they're about to hit 50%. And we've seen this before where they managed to turn it around and do these huge pullbacks where, you know, everyone were expecting KGSZL to get to 99% easy win, and it really isn't. So they're sitting on the side. Sharp is trying to be as annoying as Poppyfresh, but isn't able to do as much. Recrent fighting a lot of skirmishing here, and on the other side we see Leo Deads doing a lot of damage in, and the KGSZL are pushing forward with a couple of ultimates, but they managed, look at that, a huge 4 or 5 kills coming out of CyberAthletes, 4 of them on fire.
Yeah, so now the big fight's gonna come. We've got 3 ultimates available for the attacking team. Regrant's soon gonna get his tactical visor, and this will be probably crucial. And that's 4 combined nearly for CyberAthletes. I really don't know how KGSZL want to figure it out, but they really have to shut down Regrant quickly enough, and they're sitting on him, but nobody's really attacking him out there. Zeus, is he gonna be okay? And just to get out of the field of view from that soldier, but that soldier is still pounding the damage down. Zenyatta cuts away from his team, but he's still throwing in the Harmony Orbs. That's important. Gustav and Sharp to Sonic finally go ham out there, and Zeus also getting the kill on Hazer. That's gonna probably close it out. Is there anybody else nearby? I don't think so. I don't see anyone. And yeah, the ult's also thrown down out there just to make sure. 3-1. That's gonna be GG. That's gonna be 2-1 in maps in favor of KGSZL. But man, was it a struggle.
Yeah, I really expected CyberAthletes to come out with the win at the end there. They had more ultimates up, but they seemed to pull the trigger a little bit too fast. And we can see Tell here, they're coming up really big, getting a few kills, good reflect there. And look at those key. Yeah, this was the moment where they managed to pull off 4 kills and open up the map for that final, getting to 99%. But it was just a sudden flip over at the end there, because CyberAthletes had 4 ultimates set up. They won that fight with only using 1 ultimate, so it was, it was a very strong situation. And I expected KGSZL to not be able to get back into it, but somehow they pushed in really good flank. I think Leo Dead's got a good flank and used his visor in the right position, and Rekrent ended up being under a lot of pressure, so his visor wasn't as effective. Anyway, so right now, so that puts eSuper against CyberAthletes in the losers bracket, and Iceblock GG are going to go up against KGSZL. Now, Iceblock weren't looking as dominant as we expected them to be, so it'll be interesting to see if that's changed, or whether KGSZL will really be able to challenge them.
Okay, but for now, we're going to go into a little bit of a break. We're already behind the schedule, so we have to make it real short, and we'll be hopping into the winner's match as soon as possible. Iceblock, hoping that they will impress finally, because the start was not so good. So see you there.
Never gonna give you up. I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna say goodbye, no. Never gonna give you up. I'm never gonna let you go.